On today's episode of You Asked, why is there no such thing as a wireless over-the-air antenna kit, and is it even possible to get your antenna signal transmitted wirelessly? Can a mirror magically make your TV look several times better, and if so, why? What's the best TV for anime, and can in-ceiling speaker surround systems really be impressive? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and this is You Asked, the show where I answer questions you asked in hopes I can help you and others with similar tech questions. If you have a question you want answered, please send it to youasked@digitaltrends.com, and we'll see if your question gets picked to be answered on the show. Let's start with one that I picked just because it's fun to explain and because there is indeed a solution, though it may not seem so obvious. Martin wrote in to tell me that after they wall-mounted their LG G Series OLED, they learned that there was some kind of signal interruption between their antenna, or aerial as it's called across the pond, and their TV. So they hooked up their TV to the coax cable connection for the antenna and nothing, bupkis. Now, there's probably a fault in the cable, but the cable is routed through the walls in a Victorian home, so digging it out and replacing it is just not a real option for them. So they looked into whether they could get a wireless transceiver kit and were disappointed to find out that apparently no such product exists. So the question is, why doesn't such a thing exist, and is there a solution to this problem? So the good news is, yes, there is a solution, and I'll spell that out shortly. But first, why in this day and age of wireless everything boxes is there not a box that just takes a TV antenna signal and wirelessly beams it to a receiver that you can connect to your TV? I mean, it is often the case that the best place for an antenna is actually nowhere near where the TV lives. So clearly, there is a need to be able to put the TV antenna where it needs to go, where it gets the best reception, and to put the TV where it needs to be, and then you just wirelessly beam a signal from one to the other, so you don't have to go through the hassle of running a cable through the house, or in this case, replace an existing faulty coax cable. Well, the reason that there is no wireless transmitter and receiver that can just take a raw TV antenna signal and send it over the air wirelessly is that the signal itself spans a pretty broad range of the wireless spectrum, and it is heavily modulated as well. The equipment that you would need in order to wirelessly retransmit a signal like that is restricted for professional video folks. And not only is the signal, let's just say it's too complicated to rebroadcast, it's actually illegal to rebroadcast a signal like that without a broadcasting license. Also, it'd be super susceptible to interference and would likely cause interference with other wireless devices in a home. In the United States, the FCC heavily regulates all of this. That's why you're not going to find a TV antenna that doesn't have a coax cable attached to it. So what can you do then? Well, the key is to connect a tuner to the antenna itself at the antenna's location. The tuner demodulates the signal and turns it into an actual video signal. And that demodulated display-ready video signal can then be wirelessly transmitted throughout the home over Wi-Fi. That's exactly what OTA tuners and DVRs from the likes of Tableau and Silicon Dust do. They take the signal from an antenna, process it, and then make it available to watch via your Wi-Fi network. So take the Silicon Dust HD Home Run Flex Duo 2. It's a box that will allow you to watch up to 2 different channels at the same time from anywhere you have internet, not just at your house. And you watch the broadcast TV through their app, which is available on iPhone, Android, that includes Google TV, Xbox, Apple TV, Roku, LG. I'm not sure about Samsung Tizen. You'd want to double check that. Now, this particular box isn't a DVR, but it can become one if you just add an external hard drive. So not only could you watch live TV, but you could also record up to 2 channels at the same time and watch whenever you want, wherever you want. And the Tableau devices are similar, but most of those are DVRs by default. So you're buying a DVR on top of this wireless TV solution. but the pricing is very competitive. Now, I don't think that the Tableau brand is available in the UK or Europe. I'm guessing that's where you are since you said across the pond, but I'm sure there are other brands available in your area. Just look for an OTA DVR or a device similar to the HD Home Run, and you should be all set. Now, this next one is just wacky and kind of a mystery. Olivier writes in saying that they have a Sony TV near the entrance of their house and that opposite the TV is a mirror. And they swear that this mirror makes the TV's picture quality significantly better. To clarify that, they're saying that the TV, as they see it through their mirror, looks better than watching the TV itself. In fact, they call the effect jaw-dropping. So what's going on here? Is this mirror magic? How can a mirrored image look better than the image source? So there are several potential factors at play, and actually I suspect it is a combination of a few of them that makes the TV look better as viewed from the mirror than by viewing the TV directly. So mirrors actually absorb some light, a fair amount of it. They do not reflect 100% of the light that hits them. In fact, most mirrors have a black backing. Without it, you could see through them, like a two-way mirror, right? And that black backing on a mirror is what absorbs some of the light shining on the mirror. By absorbing some light, some of the brightness of your TV is going to be knocked down for the reflection. But also, it may cause the TV to appear to have better black levels than it actually does because any blooming would be basically erased. The contrast of the TV may appear to be superior in the mirror, even though the total brightness of the television has been knocked down in this reflection. In fact, the reflected mirror image might make an LCD TV like yours almost look like an OLED TV. OLED TVs with their perfect black levels are pretty jaw-dropping to see. Also, the mirror is going to help counteract some of the TV's own anti-glare measures. So while the TV may be minimizing glare, when viewed directly, some low-level light smearing and rainbow effect from the anti-glare treatment is going to be visible to your eyes. The mirror, again, will knock that effect down, making the TV look even better. A mirror could also mute image artifacts because in practice, it is actually distorting the image. So those kind of fine details and errors are harder to see in the reflection. So, is this magic? Well, no, it's science, but it probably seems like magic. Anyway, thanks for writing in with that question because that one was a lot of fun. Andy writes in wondering, what is the best TV for anime? You know, I get this type of question pretty often enough that I've actually already addressed it on this show a couple of times, but it's worth talking about periodically because it comes up pretty often. This idea that a certain TV might be better for anime or sports or movies. But to address this topic, I actually want to start out by talking about speakers. See, I remember from my days working at a loudspeaker company that folks would come into our showroom saying they wanted a speaker that was really good for rock or EDM or jazz or classical or even country. And I get why. You may have had speakers that didn't make the music you love sound as good as you wanted it to sound, and you're looking for a speaker that's gonna play that music really well. Well, in the world of speakers, the best speakers will sound amazing no matter what genre of music you play on them. If they can sound true to the source, the way the music was meant to sound, then they are great speakers. But that means that they need to be able to cover the full spectrum of audio frequencies in a very balanced way, and they need to steer clear of distortion. After that, it's a matter of taste. Do you want your speakers to put out a ton of bass? Then you need a speaker that can put out a ton of bass. Do you like super aggressive, hot treble that to you sounds crisp and clean? Well, then you may need a speaker that can play super high frequencies at very high sound pressure levels without distortion. You might want a horn-loaded tweeter, like the kind you find in a Klipsch speaker, for example. Now, the reason a speaker may sound great for classical or all acoustic jazz, for example, is because the bass demands for those genres tends to be lower than the bass demands for like hip hop or R&B. Or the treble and upper mid-range demands would tend to be lower for classical and acoustic jazz than, say, rock that involves a lot of loud, crunchy guitar distortion, right? So for classical or acoustic jazz or some folk music, a really great bookshelf speaker may be all that you need. But for music that places higher demands on the bass or treble regions, a larger tower speaker may be needed. Or you could just add subwoofers to your bookshelf speakers to get closer to what you want. The point is, though, that the best speakers can do it all, regardless of the music genre. Whether you like a speaker is going to be a matter of taste, but fundamentally speaking, if the speaker reproduces all of the audible range and it does it in a balanced way and it doesn't get distorted, it's going to be able to cover that genre of music almost no matter what it is. Now, take that logic and apply it to TVs. The best TVs are great at displaying all kinds of content. They are, well, the best ones are content agnostic. Now, that's not to say that you can't target a TV that is just sufficient for your more limited needs as opposed to shooting for the moon. I mean, let's look at cars. If you're just doing a bunch of short in-town driving trips, then you could get away with a BMW i3 and its limited range rather than shooting all the way up to like a Tesla, right? But getting back to TVs here, the most important aspect of picture quality is contrast, right? Your eyes see that most easily. You want the best black levels you can get, and then the brightness that you need from there will depend largely on your viewing environment and individual tastes. Or like, if all you ever watch is TV news where the image is really nothing special, then who cares? Get the brightest TV that you can afford and call it good. Now, I'll admit that if you watch a lot of sports, a high refresh rate is important, but I would argue a high refresh rate is always important, whether you're watching sports or not. But for anime, movies, high-quality TV shows, hell, even high-quality YouTube content, the needs are the same. High contrast, which starts with the best black levels that you can get, and then accurate, vibrant color. For the image to look good, you'll need decent processing, and that counts for all genres of video content. So look, I'd say if cost is no object and you don't watch anime during the day with a ton of sunlight pouring into the room, I'd say get a 55-inch OLED TV that you can afford and you will be thrilled. But more broadly speaking, I want to encourage people to kind of set aside this idea that certain TVs are good for certain genres. Like, the better a TV, the better everything is going to look on it. DeChris writes in telling me he's closing on a new construction home soon, and the builder offers pre-wiring for a 5-channel in-ceiling speaker system. And DeChris knows that putting the left, center, and right speakers at ear level would be preferable, but also wonders if they went ahead with the in-ceiling wiring, if the front in-ceilings could be repurposed for Atmos channels later or right away if they wanted. Hey DeChris, first off, congrats on the new home. Second, thanks for writing in. And third, no apologies for being a noob to all this. That is why I'm here. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, why won't they wire the LCRs in the walls as opposed to just in the ceilings? Is it because of how the room is set up? I mean, it's new construction. Seems like they should be able to do whatever you want them to do. And also, the wiring runs would be shorter for in-walls than it would be for in-ceiling speakers. Did they already put up the sheetrock? I don't care. They can fish it, no problem. I would question this idea that the only option is in-ceiling speakers. Maybe that's what they're used to doing. It's part of this package they put together, but like, if they're good construction people, they can put them in the walls. But if for some reason, all they're gonna offer you is in-ceiling, okay, fine. If you have the means, go ahead and have them wire it up. And yeah, go ahead and get in-ceiling speakers put in there. I would go with a high quality in-ceiling speaker made from a well-respected audio brand, and I'd make sure to get an in-ceiling speaker that can be aimed at your listening position. Now, if these builders say, oh, we got great speakers that we want to put in there, I would tell them, yo, thanks. I realize that you're gonna make some money on selling me these speakers, but I have preferences. So put these speakers in, and then you go and you choose your own in-ceiling speakers. Now, in-ceiling systems can sound awesome if they're set up right and the speakers are well powered. Some in-ceiling speakers even come with their own enclosures, like behind the driver. They're not the open baffle design, so they can sound more refined. And there's just less left to chance than an open baffle design. Now, if you got great in-ceiling speakers and they're well powered by a good amp and you still feel like it's not good enough, I really do think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But if you don't think it's good enough, you can continue using the 2 back speakers as surrounds, set up some bookshelf or floor standing speakers up front, and then use 2 of the 3 front in-ceiling speakers as Atmos channels. The center speaker would just be an odd man out. As far as I'm aware, most receivers and processors that you're likely to consider don't have processing that would allow you to task that center speaker as like a center front Atmos channel. Anyway, I hope that helps a bit, and if I missed something, let me know. I'll do my best to get back to you. But yeah, I'd take discrete front channels in the ceiling with some decent separation over a 3-channel passive soundbar any day. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'm trying to get through as many of your questions as I can, but there's a lot of them. If you need very specific help and want a guaranteed answer and help from me, consider becoming a member. We've got membership info down below that covers the different tiers. Even if you only become a member for a month, it may be enough to get you the help that you need. Please like and subscribe to help us keep the show going. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. And until then, here's 2 other videos I think you might like. Think Naruto, you know, with the spiky blonde hair. Yeah. That would be me.